Thanks so much for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham.
And I'm Charlene Israel. It's been an emotional week in Cleveland. It began with the amazing rescue of the 3 women missing for a decade. Now prosecutors say kidnapping suspect Ariel Castro could face the death penalty, along with hundreds of additional charges. Meanwhile, community members are coming together to pray. Mark Martin has the update.
In Cleveland, residents march in support of Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight. They also pray for the 3 women who are now free after a decade of captivity in horrific conditions, allowed outside only twice in 10 years.
This has really affected us.
The victims are adjusting to their newfound freedom. Gina DeJesus and her family are now sleeping on inflatable mattresses together in the living room.
She says, "Mom, I don't want to stay in a room." So I said, "You don't have to anymore." So that's part of the process, part of her healing and knowing that she now can do what she wants.
While 3 families begin the healing process, another is in agony. The mother of suspect Ariel Castro told reporters she is suffering. "My son is sick," she said. "I ask those mothers to forgive me." Prosecutors say Ariel Castro could face hundreds of charges, including murder for the pregnancies he allegedly terminated with his own hands. For that, he could face the death penalty.
Based on the facts, I fully intend to seek charges for each and every act of sexual violence, rape, each day of kidnapping, every felonious assault, all his attempted murders, and each act of aggravated murder he committed by terminating pregnancies that the offender perpetuated against the hostages during this decade-long ordeal.
Investigators say a letter reportedly found inside Ariel Castro's home offers one clue on a motive for these incomprehensible crimes. In it, they say he claims to be a sex addict. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Mark, thank you. Law enforcement officials say it is the biggest heist in history. A gang of cyber criminals made off with $45 million by hacking ATM machines around the globe. Federal prosecutors say the case involved plundered ATMs in 26 countries and cyber attacks on 2 banks in the Middle East. A cell of thieves stole $28 million in cash from machines in New York in just one day. The robbers hacked into a database of prepaid debit cards, then drained cash machines of their dollars. Officials say no customer accounts were affected. 7 people have been arrested in this case.
Could the Boston Marathon bombings have been prevented? That was the question raised on Capitol Hill Thursday. George Thomas has been following the first of many congressional hearings on the bombing.
3 weeks after the Boston Marathon terrorist attack,
the Committee on Homeland Security will come to order.
Congress wants answers.
Anyone who thinks they can execute an attack on this country and change our way of life greatly underestimates our spirit and our resolve.
The first of what will likely be several congressional hearings on the attack. And right off the bat, new revelation showed a breakdown in intelligence sharing. Boston City Police Commissioner said officials didn't know until 3 days after the bombing that the older brother, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, had been flagged by the intelligence community.
My fear is that the Boston bombers may have succeeded because our system failed. We can and we must do better.
In 2001, Russia asked the FBI and CIA to look into Tsarnaev's possible ties to radical Islamists. U.S. investigators found nothing and closed its case. Again, that piece of information was never shared with the Boston police.
Would you have liked to have known that information?
In hindsight, certainly.
Equally concerning to lawmakers is the emerging narrative from the White House. The administration continues to downplay the threat posed by radical Islamists.
From the attack at Fort Hood to the tragedy at Benghazi, the Boston bombings are our most recent reminder that we must call terrorism really for what it is in order to confront it.
Former Senator Joe Lieberman says violent Islamic extremism is alive and well, and the government needs to do more to counter it.
I believe that though it would not have been easy, it was possible to have prevented the terrorist attacks in Boston.
George Thomas, CBN News.
The American Center for Law and Justice is calling on the Pentagon to cut ties with an anti-Christian extremist. Atheist Mickey Weinstein recently met with high military officials as an advisor on religious tolerance. Weinstein also has a long track record of attacking Christians using words like monsters, hate groups, and diehard enemies of the Constitution. He even compared military Christians sharing their faith to spiritual rape, calling it a form of treason. Weinstein said officers who do that should face a court-martial. Jordan Seculo of the American Center for Law and Justice joins us now. Jordan, these statements are so extreme. Who is this group and this guy at the top?
Well, Mikey Weinstein is a Air Force Academy graduate. He served our armed forces, and for that, we're thankful for his service. That doesn't mean, however, that he's qualified or the right person in any means to be advising the Pentagon on religious affairs. Let me point out two things off the top. First, Mikey Weinstein has an organization called Military Religious Freedom Foundation. He talks tough. You just said that from some of the nasty things he's called Christians, and he's even said that he'll fight to the death if he has to religious intolerance here in the United States. I mean, what a joke. What fight is that? But second, go look on his website. I mean, you'll never find it because it's not there. Any victories he's had. He hasn't won anything. And the fact is, the reason why he hasn't won anything is because the problems he's talking about are made up. There are issues here and there, but nothing that's been actionable legally. So for someone who talks such a big game, maybe he should go to parts of the world where religious persecution is real, because in the United States, to use that word persecution is a bit extreme. And then, of course, what he calls Christians just makes it wrong. He is the intolerance that he condemns.
Okay, especially for those of us who cover this on a daily basis. Who has this guy been meeting with at the Pentagon, and why are they listening to him?
He has been meeting with their press team, their legal team, and we've had some issues with the military when it comes to military chaplains. Let's not forget that. When we have had issues with chaplains having the ability to do their job as their faith dictates, we've had to go to the top through the Air Force, the Navy, and also at DOD and the Pentagon. They make their general counsel's office comes up with regulations that identify what is and what isn't appropriate. And this is how I think muddled the issue has become. The Department of Defense has said it's okay to evangelize, but not proselytize. Now, you don't talk about splitting hairs, because if you look in the dictionary, evangelize and proselytize are synonyms for each other. You could use words, switch them out. And to act as if military members are supposed to understand the difference there or somehow define that, this is exactly what Mikey Weinstein wants.
Well, General Jerry Boykin has said that he believes there is an agenda here to remove Christianity from the military altogether, and that people behind it feel the Obama administration is sympathetic to their goal. What's your take?
Well, Mikey said that. Mikey Weinstein, who has not had success in court, has had success in the mainstream media, and has said that this administration more secular than ever before. He's got the Air Force Academy, his kind of home base, and probably the one with the most trouble that's been caused for Christians, the most confusion, adopting an uncomfortable standard. Now, that is a standard that is not applicable in law. So, again, this is very real, and he's using the Obama administration's endorsement of secularism to try to push his message.
Real quick, you're calling on the Pentagon to cut ties with this group. Have you had any response?
The Pentagon has been backpedaling since this became a story, and I thank the other organizations as well, the CBN, for covering it. And I do think that as long as we push, they just need to stop being afraid of Mikey Weinstein. He says mean words, but he doesn't back it up with any action in court. He's not successful, so you're going to have to put up with his words, but that doesn't mean you have to meet with him or kowtow to him.
Indeed. Jordan Seculo of the American Center for Law and Justice, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Ephraim.
Gun control advocates continue to push for tougher restrictions, but a recent study shows that gun violence is actually decreasing in the U.S. The federal government reveals gun-related homicides are down 39% from their peak in 1993. Another report by the Pew Research Center found a drop of 49%. Both reports indicate non-fatal crimes involving guns were down by 70% over that same time.
Some Christian leaders say they will not support immigration legislation that includes a gay rights amendment. A measure allowing gay couples to sponsor their partners for U.S. residence is being considered as part of a larger immigration bill. But the Southern Baptist Convention says if it makes it into the measure, the group will no longer back the reform. The National Association of Evangelicals and Hispanic Christian Leaders have made similar statements.
Minnesota is positioned to become the 12th state to approve gay marriage. A House vote on Thursday passed 75 to 59. The Senate is expected to pass the bill next week, and Governor Mark Dayton has said he'll sign it. Same-sex weddings could begin as early as the 1st of August. 1 year ago this week, President Obama came out in support of gay marriage, putting the issue into the spotlight. 2 states have approved gay marriage since then, and the Boy Scouts of America are currently in a national debate over whether to allow openly gay Scout members.
The wife of American prison pastor in Iran wants President Obama to speak out for her husband. Naghmeh Abedini says the president has been quick to offer support to others, such as gay basketball player Jason Collins, but is ignoring her husband's plight. Pastor Saeed Abedini is serving an 8-year sentence in Evin prison. He suffers internal injuries from beatings by guards and is being denied medical treatment. Secretary of State John Kerry and White House spokesman Jay Carney have called on Iran to release the pastor. Naghmeh says it will have more force coming from the president.
Coming up, Healing Hearts will tell you how one group is reaching across borders and religious divides to save the lives of children.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Just days after Israeli airstrikes on Damascus, the head of the Lebanese terrorist group Hezbollah says it's ready to receive game-changing weapons from Syria. Sheikh Hassan Nasrallah made that claim in a speech Thursday. He said the weapons could serve as Syria's response to Israel's airstrikes. Meanwhile, a prominent Islamic declared Israel has no right to exist. Yusuf al-Qaradawi is visiting the Gaza Strip, where he voiced support for rocket fire on Israel.
3 Iraqi children came to Israel this month for open-heart surgery. Israel has no diplomatic ties with Iraq, yet doctors are giving life-saving treatment to these children.
It's all part of Save a Child's Heart, a group that has treated children with congenital heart defects from many nations, including Iraq, Sudan, Ethiopia, and even the Palestinian Authority. Julie Stahl brings us this girl's story.
These children look happy, healthy, and active. But just weeks ago, each one of them faced death. They needed open-heart surgery, and they got it through Save a Child's Heart in Israel.
The idea behind Save a Child's Heart is to provide life-saving heart surgery for children from developing countries.
That was the case with Esther, a Christian from the Maasai tribe in Tanzania. Rheumatic fever damaged her heart, and she couldn't get the necessary help in her own country. She became the 2,500th patient of Save a Child's Heart.
Her heart was huge. She was very limited in a very simple task. Even simple walking, it was difficult for her.
Sister Angelica runs the children's home where Esther lives. She heard about the program from a volunteer who just happened to be riding the same bus from Kenya to Tanzania. Angelica contacted Save a Child's Heart and learned a team was actually heading to Tanzania to climb Mount Kilimanjaro 2 days later. One of the doctors, Dr. Godwin Godfrey, is Tanzanian.
Actually, for me, it looks like a miracle.
They met Esther, saw she needed surgery urgently, and 2 months later, she was in Israel. Dr. Lior Sasson operated for hours, reconstructing the valve in Esther's heart.
Now she can live a normal life. She would have to take preventive medicine that her valve would not be affected again.
Executive Director Simon Fisher says more than 50% of the children treated have been Palestinian from the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
We believe that Save a Child's Heart has a very positive message which it sends out from Middle East, from Israel, about people working together from different nationalities and different religions for the best of our children.
Part of the program's goal is to train doctors from developing countries, like Dr. Godfrey, who will work in Israel for 5 years.
This training will be one of its kind for my country, so hopefully when I go back, I will actually start the open heart surgery also for the young children.
Before and after surgery, the children live in this house, usually with a parent or caregiver. House mother Laura Cassis says the change in the children is amazing.
You see the children going home healthy. You know, you see children that sometimes can barely walk, practically running to the gate and to the minibus to go to the airport, and they're smiling and they're looking forward to going home, and you know that they have a future.
Less than 2 weeks after her surgery, Esther was dancing with her newfound friends and sang us a song she sings at home.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Holon, Israel.
Up next, Faith and Family, how the breakdown of the family has hurt religion in America and what we can do to rebuild.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
How did the Western world lose God? Author Mary Eberstadt takes a fresh look at the question in her book, How the West Really Lost God, and she joins us now. Mary, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Charlene.
Now, you say it's the collapse of the family that led to a decline in Christianity in the West. Is that right?
The conventional storyline is that once people became more educated, more enlightened, more rational, they wouldn't need God anymore, and that Christianity would just go the way of the dinosaur. This is what a lot of sophisticated people have believed. This is the storyline handed down by the Enlightenment, and most recently by the new atheists. But the fact is, this story doesn't hold up for a lot of reasons. So if the conventional storyline about Christianity's decline doesn't work, what does? That's where the book comes in. What I try to do is isolate the times when Christianity has been strong, the times when it's been vibrant. And when it is, you always see the same thing. Strong families make strong churches. Weak families make weak churches. And given the fractured family world we live in, we should expect to see religious decline. But this is very different from the conventional storyline, which says that this decline is inevitable. It's not.
Definitely. Well, you just mentioned about family. You also talk in the book how closely intertwined faith and family are. Why is that so?
We're talking about a religion that begins with the birth of a baby, and it goes on to have a holy family who are main characters in this story. So the family as an idea saturates Christianity. Why does this matter? Well, it matters now because when we live in a world where a lot of people don't live in natural families, when they live in fractured families or atomized households of one, that story makes less sense. The fracturing of the family ends up fracturing the churches too.
Definitely. Now, Mary, why should the secular-minded or the agnostic be concerned with the collapse of the faith and family?
Because what religious believers are doing in the public square benefits everybody, Charlene, and there's a lot of secular social science on this that I cite in the book. If you are a religious believer, you are more likely to contribute to charity, you're more likely to donate your time, you're even more likely to donate blood than if you are secular. And I'm not saying that to knock the secular folks. This is all well-established social science. Conversely, if you take a society like France, very secular, there's very little charitable giving. So it turns out that if you have a creed that tells you to take care of the poor and the sick and the old, you are a little more likely to do that. So that's just one example of how religious believers contribute to society. They also contribute in another way. They make it less likely that the substitute family, known as the modern welfare state, has to come in and pick up the pieces. Strong families benefit everybody in society, not only those who believe. So those are two examples of why everybody has a dog in this fight, whether they want to or not. And I think it's really short-sighted of the new atheists and the aggressively secular people to be beating up on Christians in the public square for this reason, because what they're doing benefits everybody.
Definitely. What would you say are the solutions to all these problems?
Well, I think it helps to understand the nature of the problem. I think it might help, for example, pastors and other people concerned with the churches to understand that they need to look in those pews and figure out how to help young families, families that are struggling, with very grassroots sorts of things like meal drop-offs and carpools and all the things that make it a little easier to have a family in this world that is increasingly hostile to families. So that's one thing. But looking at the bigger picture, I think the scenario out there is optimistic because I think that the modern welfare state, which again has been bankrolling the fractured family for decades now, is going to turn out to be unsustainable. When the time comes that the welfare state is reined in or that there is a major rethinking of what it really reasonably can do, I think what will happen is what always happens in times of adversity. People will look more immediately around them. They will look to home. They will look to church. Adversity drives people to church. We saw this right after 9/11. And when the welfare state and its illusions of being able to provide what the natural family can provide is reconsidered, I think you'll see a reconsideration of family and faith as well, and possibly the seeds of a religious revival.
Excellent. Very good information. Mary Eberstadt, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Charlene.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. That it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Finally, the Israel Antiquities Authority has revealed a 2,000-year-old quarry whose stones were used to build Jerusalem in the time of Jesus.
That's right. King Herod, known as the Great Builder, used mammoth stones to construct public buildings and expand the Temple Mount. Jerusalem district archaeologist Ahmet Riem told CBN News it was clear such stones were used in the quarry.
The archaeologists think very carefully that it must be connected with the large-scale building of Jerusalem during the time of Herod. And maybe, I'm saying only maybe, that those stones were taken to build the Temple Mount. Actually, it's the same sizes. If you look at the Wailing Wall, those are the same sizes and even weight of these magnificent stones that we found here.
The revelation came on Jerusalem Day when Israelis celebrate the reunification of the city in 1967 under Jewish sovereignty.
It's pretty amazing. The same stones. Wow.
I tell you.
Awesome. Well, that's all for now on the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com.
Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.